Jerusalem was already stirring. The city swelled with pilgrims, men, women, families traveling from every corner of the land. Passover was near, and with it, the ancient remembrance of deliverance. The air itself seemed heavy with expectation, though few could name why. Jesus stood just outside the village of Bethphage, near the Mount of Olives. His face was set toward Jerusalem. He turned to two of his disciples. "Go into the village ahead of you," he told them. "As you enter, you will find a donkey tied there, and with it a colt, one that has never been ridden. Untie them and bring them to me. If anyone asks why, tell them the Lord has need of them." The disciples went, uncertain but obedient. Just as he had said, they found the animals waiting. When questioned, they spoke the words Jesus had given them, and the owners let them go. Nothing about this moment appeared grand. No army gathered, no banners were raised, no trumpet sounded, and yet this simple act fulfilled words spoken centuries before. "Behold, your king comes to you, gentle and riding on a donkey." When Jesus mounted the colt and began the descent toward Jerusalem, something stirred in the crowd. Words spread quickly. "This is him, the teacher from Galilee, the one who heals, the one who speaks with authority." People began cutting branches from palm trees, laying them on the road. Others spread their cloaks before him, a gesture reserved for kings. They cried out together, "Hosanna! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the King of Israel." The city shook with sound, but while the crowd saw a conquering Messiah, Jesus wept. He looked upon Jerusalem, not with triumph, but with sorrow. He knew the cheers would fade. He knew the city did not recognize the time of God's visitation. The king had come gently, and many would not understand. The temple. Jesus entered the temple courts. What he found grieved him. The place meant for prayer had become a marketplace. Animals crowded the space. Coins clattered on tables. Voices shouted prices instead of prayers. Court of the Gentiles, meant to invite the nations, had been overtaken. Jesus' presence changed the air. He overturned tables. He drove out the sellers. He declared with authority, "My Father's house shall be a house of prayer, but you have made it a den of thieves." The religious leaders watched, their hearts hardened. From that day forward, they began to look for a way to destroy him. In the days that followed, Jesus taught openly in Jerusalem. He spoke in parables of vineyards and tenants, of wedding feasts and watchful servants. He warned of hypocrisy. He spoke of judgment and mercy, of faithfulness and love. Crowds listened in awe, but the leaders questioned him, trying to trap him with words. "By whose authority do you do these things? Should we pay taxes to Caesar? What is the greatest commandment?" Jesus answered, with wisdom none could refute. And yet the shadow grew longer. Behind closed doors, plans were made. The chief priests and elders feared the people, yet feared losing their power even more. They agreed Jesus must be arrested, but quietly, not during the feast, not publicly. Then one of the 12 came to them. "Judas Iscariot, what will you give me," he asked, "if I deliver him to you?" They counted out silver. From that moment on, Judas looked for an opportunity. On the night of Passover, Jesus gathered his disciples in an upper room. They reclined together, unaware that history was turning. Jesus took bread, gave thanks, broke it, and gave it to them. "This is my body," he said, "given for you." Then he took the cup. "This cup is the new covenant in my blood, poured out for many." Confusion filled the room. He spoke of betrayal. He spoke of suffering. He spoke of leaving. Their hearts grew heavy. Peter vowed loyalty. Others promised faithfulness. Jesus looked at them with love and sorrow. Before the night was over, they would all scatter. After the meal, they sang a hymn and went out to the Mount of Olives. The city lights faded behind them. Ahead lay a garden, and a cup that could not pass away. They crossed the Kidron Valley and entered a familiar place, an olive grove, Gethsemane. Jesus told his disciples to sit and wait. Then he took Peter, James, and John farther into the garden. The night air was cool, but his soul was burdened beyond measure. "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow," he said. "Stay here. Watch with me." He went a short distance away. Then he fell to the ground, alone beneath the trees. Jesus prayed, "Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me." The weight of what lay ahead pressed upon him: betrayal, abandonment, suffering, separation. Not merely the pain of nails or the shame of the cross, but the full burden of humanity's sin. Yet his prayer did not end there. "Not my will, but yours be done." He returned to his disciples. They were asleep. Again, he prayed. Again he returned. Again he found them sleeping. The hour was late. The moment had come. An angel appeared, strengthening him. His resolve was set. Torches flickered through the darkness. Footsteps approached. Judas led them. Soldiers, temple guards, men armed with swords and clubs. Judas stepped forward. The signal was simple. A kiss. "Rabbi," he said, and betrayed him. Jesus did not resist. "Friend," he said quietly, "do what you came to do." Chaos broke out. Peter struck with a sword, severing a soldier's ear. Jesus stopped him. "This is not the way." He touched the wounded man and healed him. Then he allowed himself to be taken. As he was led away, every disciple fled, just as he said they would. Jesus was brought before the council. False witnesses were summoned. Accusations were shouted. Stories contradicted one another. Jesus remained silent. Finally, the high priest demanded an answer. "Are you the Messiah, the Son of the Blessed One?" Jesus spoke. "I am, and you will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of power and coming with the clouds of heaven." The room erupted. They tore their robes. They condemned him. They spat on him. They struck him. They mocked him. The guards blindfolded him and beat him through the night. Outside, in the courtyard, Peter lingered. The servant girl looked at him closely. "You were with him." Peter shook his head. "I don't know what you're talking about." Another recognized him. "You're one of them." Again, Peter denied it. Then a third voice spoke. "Surely you are. Your accent gives you away." Peter swore. "I do not know this man." A rooster crowed. Peter froze. Across the courtyard, Jesus turned and looked at him. In that moment, Peter remembered. He ran out into the night and wept bitterly. As dawn broke, the council reached its verdict. Jesus was guilty, but they lacked the authority to execute him. So they delivered him to the Roman governor, Pontius Pilate. Pilate questioned him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus answered calmly, "My kingdom is not of this world. Pilate found no guilt in him. Yet the crowd demanded blood. They accused. They shouted. They stirred unrest. Pilate offered a choice, a custom at Passover. One prisoner would be released. Barabbas, violent, guilty. Jesus, innocent, silent. Which one do you want? Pilate asked. The crowd roared. Barabbas! And what shall I do with Jesus? Crucify him. Pilate washed his hands. Then he handed Jesus over to be scourged. Jesus was stripped. A whip woven with bone and metal was brought down upon his back. Again and again and again, blood flowed. Flesh was torn. Yet he did not cry out. The soldiers mocked him. They placed a purple robe on his shoulders, a crown of thorns on his head, a reed in his hand. "Hail, King of the Jews," they laughed. Then they struck him again. At last they led him away, a crossbeam laid upon his wounded shoulders. The road ahead climbed toward a hill, Golgotha, the place of the skull. The Lamb was being led to the slaughter. Jesus stumbled beneath the weight of the cross. The streets of Jerusalem echoed with noise, mockery from some, weeping from others. His body was weakened from the night of beatings, the scourging, the loss of blood. When he could go no farther, the soldiers seized a passerby, Simon of Cyrene. They laid the cross upon him and forced him to carry it behind Jesus. Together, they climbed the hill. They came to Golgotha, the place of the skull. There, they laid Jesus down. Nails were driven through his hands and feet. The cross was lifted. The weight of his body settled into agony. Above his head, a sign was fastened: Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. Written in multiple languages, read by many, mocked by leaders. Two criminals were crucified beside him, one on his left. The crowd watched. Some shook their heads. Some hurled insults. He saved others, they said. He cannot save himself. Come down from the cross. If you are the Son of God, prove it. Jesus remained. From the cross, Jesus spoke. "Father, forgive them," he said, "for they do not know what they are doing." One of the criminals joined in mocking him. The other rebuked him. "We are punished justly," he said. "But this man has done nothing wrong." Then he turned his head toward Jesus. "Remember me when you come into your kingdom." Jesus answered him with mercy. "Today you will be with me in paradise." Near the cross stood his mother, Mary, her heart breaking as she watched her son suffer. Beside her stood the disciple whom Jesus loved. Jesus looked down. "Woman," he said, "behold your son." Then to the disciple, "Behold your mother." Even in his suffering, he provided. At midday, the sky changed. Darkness spread across the land. Not clouds, not storm, darkness. For hours, the sun refused to shine. Creation itself seemed to mourn. Jesus bore the weight of sin, the separation humanity had known since Eden pressed fully upon him. Then he cried out with a loud voice, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Some misunderstood, others mocked, but heaven was silent. Later, knowing that all was now completed, Jesus said, "I thirst." A sponge was lifted to his lips. Then he spoke again. "It is finished." The debt was paid, the sacrifice complete, the work accomplished. Finally, he cried out, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." And he breathed his last. The earth shook, rocks split, graves were opened, and inside the temple, something unseen by the crowd took place. The veil, the great curtain separating the holy place from the most holy place, thick, towering, sacred, was torn in two, from top to bottom, not by human hands. The way to God was opened. A Roman centurion stood nearby. He had seen many executions, but never this. Never the darkness, never the quake, never the manner of death. He looked upon Jesus and spoke words that echoed through history. Surely this man was the Son of God. As evening approached, the Sabbath drew near. A respected council member named Joseph of Arimathea gathered courage and went to Pilate. He asked for the body of Jesus. Pilate, surprised he was already dead, granted the request. Joseph and Nicodemus took him down. Gently, reverently, they wrapped his body in linen with spices and laid him in a new tomb, one cut from stone where no one had ever been laid. A great stone was rolled across the entrance. The women watched. They mocked the place. Then they went away. The religious leaders remembered his words. He said he would rise. They returned to Pilate. "Secure the tomb," they demanded. So guards were posted. The stone was sealed. The grave was made as secure as men could make it. Night fell. Hope seemed buried. The Sabbath passed in silence. The city rested. The crowds dispersed. The cross stood empty. The disciples hid behind locked doors. Fear lingered. Grief settled. Hope felt distant. To the world, the story was over. The teacher was dead. The movement was crushed. The tomb was sealed. But heaven was not finished. Before the sun rose on the first day of the week, women made their way through the quiet streets. Mary Magdalene, Mary, the mother of James. They carried spices. Their question was simple and heavy with sorrow. Who will roll the stone away for us? As they approached the tomb, the earth shook. An angel of the Lord descended from heaven. He rolled back the stone and sat upon it. His appearance was like lightning, his clothing white as snow. The guards trembled. They fell like dead men. The women drew near. The tomb was open. Empty, the angel spoke. "Do not be afraid. I know that you are looking for Jesus, who was crucified. He is not here. He has risen, just as he said. Come and see the place where he lay." Then the command, "Go quickly and tell his disciples." As they ran to tell the others, Jesus met them. Alive, victorious, they fell at his feet. They worshipped him. "Do not be afraid," he said. "Go and tell my brothers to go to Galilee. There they will see me." Jesus was alive. Mary ran to the disciples. "I have seen the Lord." Peter and John ran to the tomb. They found the linen cloths lying there, the grave clothes folded, order where death had been. Still, they struggled to believe. That evening, behind locked doors, Jesus came and stood among them. "Peace be with you." He showed them his hands and his side. Fear turned to joy, doubt to wonder. One disciple was not present, Thomas. When the others told him, he refused. "Unless I see the marks of the nails," he said, "I will not believe." 8 days later, Jesus came again. "Peace be with you." Then he turned to Thomas. "Put your finger here. See my hands. Do not disbelieve, believe. Thomas fell before him, my Lord and my God. By the Sea of Galilee, Jesus met them again. After breakfast, he turned to Peter. Do you love me? Yes, Lord. Feed my sheep. 3 times, he asked. 3 times, Peter answered. Where Peter had denied him 3 times, Jesus restored him. Grace replaced shame. Before he ascended, Jesus gathered his disciples. All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me, he said. Go, therefore, and make disciples of all nations. Teach them, baptize them, and remember this, I am with you always. On a hillside, as they watched, Jesus was lifted up. A cloud received him. Angels spoke, why do you stand looking into heaven? This same Jesus will come again. The story was not ending. It was beginning. The cross was not defeat. The tomb was not the end. Death was conquered. Sin was broken. Hope was restored. This is Easter, not just a moment in history, but a turning point for eternity. The King who came gently, the Lamb who was slain, the Savior who lives. He is risen. He is risen indeed.